What is the possible move in Bitcoin price? Are we expecting a drop, or we are expecting a pump? That is a question so many people have been asking. So today we will do an analysis. So we have trading idea or a trade idea on the direction of Bitcoin. And this is a trading view, and this is a Bitcoin chart. Now on this chart, the first thing you spot here is this chart is already on a downside from 60,000 down to 31,000 now. So it's on a downside. So what do you see here? This is a clear head and shoulder pattern. So this is still ranging within the head and shoulder pattern. This is a head, this is one shoulder, this is the other head, this is a head, and this is another shoulder. So it's still ranging within this head and shoulder pattern. Now, if you look at this thing carefully, what are we expecting? We're expecting this move maybe to go down to the next part. So this is another structure down here, which we are expecting this move to get to that point. So if I grab my tool, analysis tool, then I draw the structures. Let me try to draw it so I get it clearly. So this is a structure. This is the structure. So this is the head and shoulder pattern, and this is another structure. Now, this is a key structure, and this one gives the direction. This is a structure. You expand this thing and lift it up. This is a structure. Now, this thing actually is a structure, and this candle has been ranging within this structure. This is a 1 week chart. So if you move to the 4 hours, on one day you see a clear range, and to a certain extent, a chopping market. So this candle is still within this structure at this 1 week chart. If you look at the momentum of the candle, that is market structure, the momentum of this candle is actually down. The candle is really, really long, but the candle is still forming, and we only get confirmation when that candle closes. So what are we expecting? If this candle ends with a rejection, then we are expecting a move up to this point. If this candle does not end, if it ends like this, then we may expect a break. And if we see a break, what are we expecting? So if we see a break on this structure, because this is the lowest structure, I think that we are expecting a bounce. If we spot a break, then we should be expecting a move down, a retest on this structure, and another move down. And maybe the next target will be this point. That is about 16,000. Then another target is up here, which is about 20,000 or 22. So these are the different moves, but we only get confirmation when this move is, when this last candle, maybe next week, when it actually gets down to this point. So if you're holding Bitcoin, you should know this thing is on the downside, and Bitcoin is the mother coin, so it goes with all the other cryptos. Therefore, if you have Ripple, if you have Dogecoin, if you have Stellar, if you have Cardano, you should be expecting a double too, because most of those things actually move towards that direction too. When Bitcoin is dropping, then all the other coins, the daughter coins, they drop. Now, if we move to the 4 hour chart, what do we see? On the 4 hour chart, the first thing we spot here, this is actually a range. So this point, we have a chopping market within a range. So this one is actually forming a move, a funny kind of move, and it has no direction. So when this kind of confirms here and we spot on a 1 week chart, we have already spotted a move that is to actually, if there's a rejection, then it will go up. So before you even spot the rejection on the 1 week chart, this is how you get it on the 1 day chart. If this candle ends and the candle gives a trigger is a reversal candle like this one. This is a hammer. So this was a trigger. If this move gives a trigger, fine, we get in and we know this is the next structure. If it breaks to this structure, then we should be expecting really 44,000, 45,000 up. So that is what we are expecting on the one day chart. Now, meaning on the 1 day chart and the 4 hour chart, everything is still the same. So we're expecting this move here on this point. And remember, this is a structure. If this is a structure, it means this thing can actually get deep inside or can bounce directly on it. So do not get in anyhow, because this thing actually go down to maybe the 30,000 before it reverses. Now, if we move to the 4 hour chart, what kind of move what do we expect? On the 4-hour chart, it's already on the downside on the 1 day, downside on the 1 week, and on the 4-hour chart, we should be expecting a downside too. Look at this move. Now on the 4-hour chart, you see this move. This is actually the move, and if you squeeze your chart, you will see you can actually spot a trend line within this point. So you can actually spot, if you really squeeze your chart, you will spot a trend line within this point. And this is actually ending like a pullback. Now, if you grab your FIB retracement level, which I always like to use, let me just grab it. This is not the point. So if you grab your FIB retracement level or your FIB retracement tool, you will know that this is actually a downward move. And from this point, this is a pullback, and this is where pullback ended. Down to this point, it gives you the FIB retracement level, and the level. What is a level? Now, let me expand the chart. What is the level? The level is on the 50 point. FIB retracement level of 50, that's 38. 50 and 61. 61 is the maximum, so reversal can occur or pullback can end on the 38 or on the 61 point. Between the 38 and the 61 point, that is where pullback will end. So if you grab this level and you draw these lines, or to use a FIB retracement level, you will know the pullback actually ended exactly on the 50 point, which is valid. So this thing is actually on the downside. So pullback has just ended, and we are expecting this move down to this point. So when this candle closes, another candle is supposed to open, and if that candle opens, then we should expect a move down to this point. So this is actually what we are expecting, because this candle will close, then the next candle goes down, and that is actually how it goes. So Bitcoin is still on a downside generally, and if you have Bitcoin, you should start thinking of an exit strategy. Meaning, how do you actually get out without losing much? Because remember, this is a bounce point, and it is safer, it is wise for you to get out even if there's a break, or if to get out even if there's a reversal. Because if it happens to be a break, what would you do? So when Bitcoin comes to this point, it may bounce. Now, if it bounces, fine. If it doesn't bounce, then fine too. And if I look at this thing, I spot a trend line too. I spot a trend line within this point. You see there's a trend line linking these 3 points. So if this trend line is broken, it may come back with a trend line and it move down. So that is it for Bitcoin. If you want to buy Bitcoin, or if you want to trade Bitcoin, maybe Bitcoin USDT, then you should be trading pullbacks. And if you're trading pullback, you're not smart, you may lose money. So generally, Bitcoin is on a downside, and it may get down to maybe 28,000. We get down to 28,000, between 28 and 30,000 before you see a bounce back. If you at all a bounces, if you spot a trigger. If you don't spot any trigger, then you know Bitcoin is heading towards the downside. And if you must have noticed, this is bonus information. You must have noticed Bitcoin always pumps during the first half of the year, and during the second half of the year, it starts dropping. In 2017, I think Bitcoin pumped to 18,000 during the first half, and during the second half, it went down to 3,500. And Bitcoin is always the opposite. The chart of Bitcoin is the opposite of the forex chart. Meaning when Bitcoin is booming, forex market is on the downside. When forex market is booming, Bitcoin market is on the downside. And from my experience, Bitcoin always booms during the first half of the year. Then the forex market always booms during the second half of the year. And in essence, if you are a crypto trader, then I concentrate all on crypto. Then during the second half of the year, you may not trade, because Bitcoin will be on the downside. Crypto generally will be on the downside. So that is it for the analysis. That is it for the trade information. And I'll upload this video. Watch the video and subscribe, because I always release videos so that I can actually get English. Share the video too, so that you help people and they can actually get in and they know the direction of Bitcoin or crypto generally. Thanks for the class, and thanks for watching. See you maybe in the